Hi guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. So today what we're going to be doing is market outlook. So what we're going to be breaking down for you guys is the NAS 100, gold and USD. Remember guys, these videos are uploaded on a weekly basis, so to not miss them, click the subscribe button below. And without further ado, let's get moving more than average. Right guys, so we're going to get started with gold. So gold, ideally, I've been waiting for the setup for a long time. I mean, we went up on the buys, we came down. I didn't take this entry here. Here was actually a falling wedge pattern formed here, bang, out. The minute we retested here, this was the entry. The very next candle was the entry. I, however, did miss that entry. That's fine. So what I'm doing is now I'm looking for conservative entries. So there's two scenarios here that I plan on doing. Right, the first one would be this here. So here we got our shooting star. Let the market fall within this vicinity, right? Once it falls in there, you wait for a retest and you get in wherever it retests from. Wait for your bullish confirmation candle and then you get up and you make the blue line here. That will be your first target, right? That's scenario one. Right, scenario two, you can forfeit that move and actually see the bigger picture, which would be this. So I just need to scroll down because the target margin is quite high. So ideally what I personally would like to wait for, so I don't mind missing this move. I would like to see a break and a retest of this area and then up. What this does is gives me a phenomenal risk to reward ratio, right? So I'll get in from about here. My stop loss would be all the way up here. And my take profit would be all the way up here. Now this setup is something I'm looking for, right? On the other hand, like if I am looking at it now and it just seems to be also something pretty cool to do, you could do this. Take the entry from down here with that risk, that's also phenomenal risk to reward, guys. I mean, it's totally up to you, it depends on you as a trader. I personally will break it down. Like I said earlier, I would actually do something like this first, you know, something like that first, and then something like this after, right? Reason being is because I like to take the more conservative approach on my trades, right? So the two together would be better. It takes, for those of you who don't have like the courage to kind of hold for longer, take the move piece by piece, right? If we just look at further above, if we can clear this area here and we can get into this zone, what I would do is once I get to the top here, just remove this. Once I get to the top here, I would actually close partials, wait for a retest of this area, right? So wait and see if we can break it. Obviously, that would depend on whether we get any divergences of some kind, right? If we break above that area, now remember my stop loss will already be in profits by this time already, so I'm actually risk-free trading, locking off my profits, right? If we break and retest in this area, my stop will come all the way up to around about here, right? Yeah, around about here. There my stop loss will sit. Then I'll run this trade all the way up till here, and then ultimately close off there for now. That would be my outlook for between this week and like early next week. I would like to see us reach early next week. I would more or less like to see us reach this area here at least. Gold has been moving on a steadily up and up. Just manage your trade, guys. Manage your risk. Remember to move stops to entry once you retrace. Now, a lot of people try to do it when we retrace the first time. I generally don't. I just move my stop closer once we retrace the first time, right? On the second retrace, that's when I'll move my stop to entry, so that we are basically for sure in the clear within this vicinity. So I won't get stopped out unnecessarily. I won't come back to my entry point, which was down here. I'd rather get stopped out somewhere above here, above this area, right? So one thing I can probably see from here, we'll probably retrace once we get to this area here, this little blue line here. That's something you guys have to take note of, right? Once you're in and you clear and you see you retested that area, then you may move your stop. So let's say, for example, we took this one, right? Let's say, for example, we took this one. This is a risk to reward. Once we go and we retest this area, and we can retest this block here. Once we can retest this, your stop can then be moved closer to your entry, right? Once we get above it, right, and we are in the clear, like as in we're approaching this line, then your stop goes to entry. From there, risk-free trading, guys, right? So be careful with this. For those of you in our Telegram channel, you will get constant updates regarding this. For those in the VIP group, you guys know how we do, and we just kind of gonna kill this thing left, right, and center. We know this. We'll do a blow by blow in our VIP channel. Yeah. And then next thing we'd like to look at is the Nasdaq, right? So now, for most of us, I mean, man, this is like all of our bread and butter. This is the one we trade the most. It's the one we want the most moves out of. Holistically, we are actually doing pretty solid here for another buy opportunity. However, we do want to see a retrace of some kind here. It's vital that we get a retrace before we jump in for the buy, right? So we had a falling wedge, the market broke out, we caught some of the buy here, closed off as that red line was the target, right? Cool. Now, two things to take note of here. The first thing would be nice, strong hidden bullish divergence here, right? So I'll mark it off for those of you who don't see it. Here's bullish, hidden bullish divergence here. And this would be, sorry guys, I can't see my wicks, and that would be your hidden bullish divergence, right? That is a clear indication that we intend to buy, yeah? So all we're gonna wait for here is a retest of some kind. So a nice rejection of the 15450 area. So what we're looking for is something like this and up, right? Or we are looking for something like this and up, right? So you have two options here, guys. The first option could be, we put a line here. The first option could be you wait for a break and retest of this area, right? Excuse me, not a break. You wait for a retest of this area, right? And you can get in on a bullish candle right here. Or you can wait for a break above this line, retest that line. That retest specifically, I would look on a lower time frame for, right? I would maybe go look for it on H1 or like a 30 minute, maybe not a 15 minute per se, but definitely H1 or 30 minute. Oh, yeah, right? Then you get in from here. Now, getting in from here means you're actually more in the clear to shoot up. What your targets would look like is first and foremost 15,600. That's something I've been targeting for the past month, right? So 15,600 would be your first one, then 15,700 would be your second one. Now, guys, this can take extremely long. The thing with this is you need to have patience. It's as simple as that. What I am going to do is I'm going to take it from this area. Sorry, let's close this off so that you guys can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. I know I can take it from here and run it all the way up. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for clear of this area like this. I'll shoot through, retest, and I'll get in from here, right? So one thing to note here is I wanted to show you guys something on the daily chart, which is perfect, right? If you look at your daily, we just rejected that 8 MA, right? Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. That rejection of the 8 MA means our bullish continuation will last for a while, right? Now, if we pull out our Fibonacci from our swing low to our swing high, right, to see how my targets meet where I would roughly like to go. Look at that 15,650 area. 600 is me being conservative, obviously, and then ultimately you're starting to look at the ranges of 15,500 and 15,900 area. That I won't target right now unless we get a clean retest here. Take my trade through, run it, then close off partials once we hit one of these targets, depends on your risk appetite, right? And then I'll run that trade. That's that little one, like a 0.01 up until here, right? So what would this look like in terms of risk to reward, right? Let's have a look. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. So you guys will notice I'm staying on the 4-hour chart because this gives us a bigger outlook as to what we can expect from the market right now and like closer like the next few days. It's important that like those of you who don't do it, scroll through each time frame, weekly, daily, 4-hour. I'm just giving you guys my outlook after I've already done that, obviously for the purposes of the video. Yeah, so let's look at our risk to reward here. So let's say we break this, right? Break and retest. Let's in the hopes that we retest here first, right? So my stop loss would be like here, right? My first one is okay. Risk to reward 1:59. That's more than good enough, right? If we can break and retest above this line, your stop loss actually comes up till here, or you can to be now obviously better, you want to put it on that line. That's assuming that we got a retest and then broke through and then retested here again. Because now this is your protection mechanism from getting stopped out, right? This red line will be your protection mechanism. However, initially, if we don't and we just break right through it, I would ideally like to do it here. See a retest within this vicinity and then I'll move my stop loss. So you see guys, what I constantly do is I'm constantly adjusting my stop losses. The reason for this is, number one, protect your capital. That's key. Number two, you really don't need to have these wide stop losses, these super tight stop losses all the time. Give the market time to breathe so you don't get caught in fake outs. Remember guys, liquidity is a thing. This is market manipulation. They're taking the buyer, the sellers out here. Liquidity can be spotted all through charts, all of the time. And I am going to cover a video in the coming days to show you guys liquidity and how to avoid it so that you can actually trade with smart money rather than trade with retail traders. Not to like we are all retail traders, including us, but the important part is to trade like institutions trade. That way you don't get caught out in the market manipulation. Yeah. So, like I say, this if we can hit 15,600 for this week, that will be me done. Done for the week. I don't care which day it happens. That will be my ultimate target because that's the target I've been targeting for. Yeah, possibly maybe even more than a month. I've been waiting for this entry up here. I have closed off some profits down here on my way up already. And then we took a couple in between. But ultimately, 15,600 is what I'd like to see this week. If we could get there, that would be great. If we don't, okay, that's the aim of the game. We're just waiting on our retests. So depending, let me just run you guys over the two scenarios. You have two beautiful ones again, yeah? Retest there, run it all the way up. You could target the mid levels, you know, like 15,550, like that, right? We're gonna run that one. Our stop loss is there, right? That would be your first one. My second one would be something like this, right? Something like that, and that would be my target, and so on we go through. Remember, guys, like for those of you that are with us as a team, you'd be updated accordingly as to when to adjust your stops, how to adjust your stops. You know, depends on you guys and what you feel like, right? Um, Finally, what we'd like to do is go through US 30, right? So US 30. This is something, it's a difficult one for me to kind of give you guys a full outlook on this because I took a break from US 30 recently. Nothing personal, anything. It's just kind of like NAS performed better than this did for like over the recent days. So I kind of avoided it for a little bit. We were stuck here and I kind of just didn't want to get stuck here all the time. We went up, we came back into this area, got stuck again, shot out. So I wasn't really feeling it at that time. Now, however, we see the action has started. Let me just zoom out for you guys here. As you can see, 1, 2, 3 touches of my trend line, validating the upward trend, right? Now, here's where the tricky bit comes in. We finally, so up above this red line, guys, there's a lot of buy pending orders up here. This is where you get stopped out, right? Do not, I'm begging you guys, do not take pending orders within this block here. Don't take pending orders or don't take orders within this block up until such time that we actually get some kind of confirmation, right? So what I mean by that is this is what you need to do. You see, we broke through this time. As you can see there, we also broke through this time. Here we rejected in the close. That also happened before. You need to be careful here. You want a retest of another retest of a candle, and not for it to break down to come chase the 8 MA. You want the 8 MA to pull up somehow, right? So what you want to do is you want to wait for another confirmation candle. In this instance, the only candle that would make me want to take this trade is a bullish engulfing. So let's say 1 or 2 candles before this, maybe it pulled down, pulled back up to pull the 8 MA all the way in, right? Then we get our bullish engulfing candle. Once that bullish engulfing candle shows itself, I'll then take the buy, right? What's going to happen here, right? So let's say we get our bullish engulfing candle. As you guys can tell, I'm buying on all three, gold, NAS, and USD, right? Once we get that, right, your stop loss can be relatively tight. I mean, you can go on the lower time frames to go get like a proper. Your first target should look something like this, right? Once a bullish engulfing shows itself, that's should be your first target. This, however, whoopsie. This, however, I personally won't necessarily take this trade, right? If we can somehow retest on this area here, right, this is where I'll take it, because then look what happens to my risk reward. You see, my risk reward becomes much cleaner. Like if we can catch a retest there, and I'll catch it on that line. So I'll have that, and then ultimately what I do is I target this first, depending on where, how many pips. Let's have a look. Take it from this line here. That's 150 pips. My target though is this here, right? We're looking at the 250 pip target. So this essentially is what my setup looks like. I will, once we hit this level, this green level, I'll close with partial profits, right? And run the trade. Once we break this level, my stop comes here. My stop is in either at entry or it's in profits, right? That way, I'm risk-free trading. Remember, USD is a very, very, very dangerous thing to be playing with. If you have a small account, my advice would be to stay out of it. If you have an account of upwards of 5,000 Rand, or let's say, what's it, like $400, I would recommend you can start this. Keep your lots as small as possible, right? Then ultimately this is what I'm going to look at this week on USD. That's it. Once we hit that area, I'd even be more conservative and go as far as saying 35,700, right? That will be my target for USD for the day, for the week, right? If I can hit this, that's me. That's three. If all three setups pan out, that's 100% success. That's locked of profits, and that's probably my target for the month sorted. Meaning, I'm not so. The whole thing here is I'm not going to be greedy. Yes, this trade might hit up here. Yes, it might even go up to this level. As you guys can see, I marked off other levels that I'm taking keen interest on. For now, I'm not going to cover those levels with you guys up until we can get into this vicinity. I will be following up with the guys, like in terms of what to expect once we reach this areas. I mean, these I take off my daily lines and so on, right? You could, I mean, just to show you guys like how I can also come to a conclusion like that. This is one of the ways I came to the conclusion for this line and this one up here. You pull out your Fibonacci, you pull it up, bang, bang. You see how my confluences start working for me? The benefit here is, guys, and this is a little pro tip for USD, working in round numbers, right? So think of the bank, and the bank's thinking round numbers, right? So think 00. So for example here, 35,650, 35,600. Think like that, and your targets become very realistic targets. And as you can see, I obviously didn't mark them off to the T of the round number. That's exactly where the FIB extension tool actually showed me where to target actually, right? So that's just something that you guys need to take into consideration. For further tips and tricks, if you want me to go over more of the Fibonacci, I do have a video coming up soon. That will be one of the next few videos where I'm going to show you guys both the Fibonacci retracement tool and the Fibonacci, what's it called? The Fibonacci extension tool. Yeah, that's this one here. Where are you, friend? Yeah, trend-based extension, right? I'm gonna be running you guys through both of those in a soon video, because trend-based extension can actually show you very long-term things, And where it helps is for those of you who want to be swing traders. So I'm going to show you guys how I use it in my day trading and how I come to the conclusion that I can hold close of partials, ran 0.01s until oblivion. Like, I mean, we ran trades from like down here up, things like that. Those are the things that I want to run by you guys. Very cool coming up soon, guys. Outside of that, what I do want to run you guys through is just a quick look at the economic calendar. This is the last thing we'll be covering. Things that matter to us. Me personally, I also trade GBP, JPY. So I would also look at the UK related things. First and foremost, we have pending home sales. This really doesn't affect much in what I covered in the video. Gold kind of. It's not too bad though. Then we have CB consumer confidence. This one as well can be a little bit tricky when we're trading it. Then we have the important bits start kicking in from Wednesday. So at 2:15 South African time, ADP non-farm employment change. This here directly ties in to the non-farm payrolls. Now guys, those of us who have been trading for a while, non-farm payrolls is where we make big moves on NAS, where we can actually murder things like kill pips all day long. And that's this. I need to read this report, and for those of you in our Telegram channels, I'll share my thoughts around this once the report is released. Then we have ISM manufacturing PMI and crude oil inventories straight after. The manufacturing PMI is also something that would affect the likes of gold and Nasdaq. Then we have non-farm payrolls. Now there is a little bit of something that I want to share with the guys in Telegram channels around these. One thing to take note of here as well, very important guys, along with non-farm payrolls, we also have an unemployment rate. These two together are very, very, very risky trading. When we look at the sentiments, if all we need to do is beat this forecast, right? Non-farm payrolls, good or bad, 90% of the time it buys. I mean, if you guys go look at the past data, this is something I'll be targeting, and I'll be doing something a little bit special for the guys in the groups for this. For those of you in the VIP channel, we're going to change it. For those of you who are mentoring, I have a mad trick to show you guys specifically. So yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be updating accordingly in the relevant groups. If you guys like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe in the link below. Our Telegram channel is there. Feel free to like and to subscribe to that channel to catch any updates that we might have. We share everything in the updates. We share news. We share everything. If you guys are interested in our VIP channel, there is a link below to show you guys how to interact with us. And we'll see you guys soon.